Welcome back to a new video of City Report. I'm Victoria Narduzzi and I'm here today to talk about my beautiful country Venezuela and to talk about his beautiful capital Caracas. Previously I spoke about my city Maracaibo. I hope you enjoy. To begin, I want to show you where my country is located in the north of South America. Its limit is very close to the line of the terrestrial equator. Therefore, it is part of the intertropical zone. My country has approximately 28.87 million inhabitants, according to the 2018 census. The history of Venezuela reflects events in the areas of the Americas colonized by Spain starting at 1522, led by native caciques such as Guacaipuro and Tamaco. However, in the Andean region of western Venezuela, complex Andean civilization of the Timotocuica people flourished before the European contact. It became one of the first Spanish-American colonies to declare independence, which was not securely established until 1821, when Venezuela was a department of the Federal Republic of Gran Colombia. It gained full independence as a separate country in 1830. During the 19th century, Venezuela suffered political autocracy, remaining dominated by regional caudillos, military strongmen. Until the mid of 20th century, since 1958, the country has a series of democratic governments. Economic shocks in the 1980s led to several political crises, including the deadly Caracas riots of 1989 and the impeachment of the President Carlos Andrés Pérez. A collapse in confidence in the existing parties saw the 1998 election of former COP involved career officer Hugo Rafael Chávez Frías, and the launch of the Bolivarian Revolution, beginning with a 1999 Constituent Assembly to write a new constitution of Venezuela. This new constitution officially changed the name of Venezuela to República Bolivariana de Venezuela, in English, Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. The national flag of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, or the colors of the rainbow, a favorite expression of its creator, is inspired by the design made by the Captain Lino, the Clemente y Palacios, and the General Francisco de Miranda Rodriguez for the American Confederation of Venezuela. It is made up of the colors yellow, blue, and red, in equal horizontal stripes, and in the middle of the blue, 8-point white stars, placed in an arc. Venezuela has several beautiful cities, so I will name the most important. Caracas. How could it be otherwise? Let's start talking about Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, and the most populated city in the country. Unfortunately for its inhabitants, it has been chosen as the most violent city in the world in a report prepared by the organization Seguridad, Justicia y Paz, in English, Security, Justice and Peace. Its main attractions are the climate, its large number of shopping centers, and the many options for entertainment and cultural events. Maracaibo. The second most populated city in Venezuela is Maracaibo, the city when I was born and I raised, which is the capital of the Zulia state. Is the most important economic center in the west of the country, especially due to the oil industry. Develops of the banks of the lakes with the same name, Lake of Maracaibo. The city is considered the most cleanest in the country. The color of its churches and colonial houses is amazing. Valencia. Valencia is the third most populated city in Venezuela. We are talking about the capital of Carabobo state. It's also important that you keep in mind that Valencia is home to interesting museums and numerous parks. Barquisimeto. In Lara state, we find the fourth most populated city in Venezuela. It is about Barquisimeto, which is considered one of the oldest cities in the country. It is important to keep in mind that Barquisimeto is an important artistic and cultural nucleus. In fact, it's the birthplace of the great artists and musicians. Venezuela not only has beautiful cities, but also has some wonderful places to visit and enjoy nature, such as Mount Roraima, located on the border with Guyana and Brazil. It corresponds to one of the most famous natural jewels of Venezuela. The park was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, whose vast extension place it among the largest national parks in the world. The spectacular scenery of the park, both its imposing rock formation stand out, with vertical walls and almost flat peaks, known as tepuis, as well as the enormous waterfall, which are El Cuquenan and Angel Falls, the latter the highest waterfall in the world. Morrocoy National Park, another national park that could not be out of any ranking of the best tourist places in Venezuela, located in the southern part of the Caribbean Sea, in the terrestrial zone of the park. The areas of exuberant mangroves and beautiful inlets are characterized of white sand beaches and turquoise water, while its marine area has the attraction of privileged underwater scenarios, where you can practice snorkeling in an ecosystem of extraordinary biodiversity. Mochima National Park, a park with beautiful natural settings, including coral reef and mangroves. The greatest fame of the place comes from its Caribbean beaches, both those that extend in the continental area and those hidden among the many islands of the park. Among all of them, you cannot fail to mention Playa Colorada, a beautiful beach with crystal waters and golden sands surrounded by coconut trees and mangrove. Los Roques, another of the wonderful places in Venezuela to visit in the Caribbean region, made up of some 50 islands and hundreds of small keys, where probably some of the most wonderful beaches in the country are hidden, characterized by their white sands and warm waters. La Colonia Tobar, a small city full of charms located just 42 kilometers from Caracas, a town founded at the end of the 19th century by German immigrants. The Colonia Tobar traditions and festivities are still appreciated. Eating German food in its restaurants, visiting ceramic craft workshops, and drinking typical beers. Now I will focus on the capital of my beautiful country, Caracas. Caracas is located in the north-central coastal area of the country. Although close to the coast, the city is located almost 900 meters above the sea level, separated from the central coastline by the Cordillera de la Costa, which as it passes through the urban nucleus is constituted as the Guaray Repano, or Avila National Park. Talking about the population of Caracas, in the last census carried out in 2015, Caracas has 2.82 million inhabitants. History. Caracas, officially Santiago de León de Caracas. It is the federal capital of Venezuela, as well as its administrative, financial, commercial, and cultural center, as the seat of the public powers of the nation. The Spanish discovered the Venezuelan coast in the 15th century, during the 1498, and began their colonization in this region, making the first attempt in what is now known as the city of Caracas before the arrival of the Spanish. The territory where the city is today was inhabited by indigenous Caribs. These, like other aborigines of Venezuela, were defenders of their freedom, their traditions, and their families' customs. The name of Caracas comes from the tribe that inhabited one of the coastal valleys, the Valley of Los Caracas, a place named still in force, which because they are Indians known and treated by the Spanish settled on the Pearl Island of Cuba in their slave expedition of those coasts. The architecture of Caracas is interesting, complicated, and attractive. This is Caracas, a city that awakens inspiration when walking through its streets and avenues. It is also a jewel in architecture. Now I will name 6 wonders architecture of the city. University City. It's the main campus of the Central University of Venezuela. It was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO for the year 2000 and is located in the San Pedro parish of the Libertador. It is one of the most important works of contemporary architecture and urban planning, created by the Venezuelan architect Carlos Raúl Villanueva. Venezuela Square. This icon of the capital city is located in the El Recreo parish. It was inaugurated in 1940. It is a combination of a pedestrian walkway and a road distributor that houses one of the city icons. Illuminated fountain to walk through. It is to marvel at its beautiful fountain, a representative symbol of Caracas. This square not only connects 4 points of the city, it is also a space for recreation and enjoyment for everyone who visits it. Grand Melia Caracas Suites and Conference Center. This majestic hotel opened its doors to the public in 1998, designed by the architect Michel Benco, located in the Bellomonte de Caracas urbanization, which has access through Casanova and Venezuela avenues. Chacao Cultural Center. The Chacao Cultural Center is located on Tamaco de El Rosal Avenue as one of the most outstanding exponents of art and creativity. Work of the Venezuelan architect Juan Machado was commissioned to project the theater in 1996, a building designed by the architect Álvaro Rodríguez. In 2003, Juan Machado and Eric Brewer carried out the adaptation of the infrastructure, and the following year, it was inaugurated. It is a mandatory stop for all those who love art and want to know more about it. Teresa Carreño. The construction of the Teresa Carreño Theater Cultural Complex began at the end of 1972. It's located between Central Park and Los Cabos Park. For its design, a competition was held, in which the architects Tomás Lugo, Jesús Sandoval, and Dietrich Kundel were the winners. The entire complex is a source of sensations for those who visit it. It is impossible to walk through it without being impressed. Caracas Cathedral. This church, built in 1665, has gone through various reconstruction processes. It is made of neoclassical elements and has 3 bodies that overlook 4 streets. It has a basilica plan, separated from the side by octagonal section columns. In our country, the religious architecture is very important. This is one of the cases in which constructions goes beyond beliefs and becomes a symbol that represents its citizens. National Pantheon. The history of this monument is quite rich. It began as the Santísima Trinidad Church, but after the earthquake of 1812, it was left in ruin. Being in the process of restoration, it was decreed as a national pantheon in 1850. It has a neo-Gothic style, and its roof is covered by 70 artist works by the painter Tito Salas. The Botanical Garden. The Botanical Garden is part of the University City of Caracas, housing 70 hectares, where more than 2,000 plant species coexist. This space is one of the best tourist places in Caracas for those looking for an educational space in contact with nature. Las Mercedes. Las Mercedes corresponds to one of the most tourist areas of Caracas. The most cool hotels, exclusive restaurants, designer stores, shopping centers, and art galleries are concentrated. It is also an area famous for its nightlife, with plenty of bars and clubs. The heart of Las Mercedes is Plaza Alfredo Sadel, where different events and cultural activities take place in the open air. Another of its iconic sites is the Paseo Las Mercedes shopping center, with several shops, restaurants, hotels, cinema and theaters. The time has come to talk about our typical food. Caracas offers several typical meals, among which are, for example, el asado negro criollo, la arepa, el pabellón criollo, that it is a national dish, and la ensalada de gallina. Our typical drinks are la chicha, tisana, carato. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to see you soon in Venezuela. Do not forget to give me a like and subscribe. This was Victoria Narduzzi, and this is my city report.